Hey, welcome back to another video. This time we're talking about TokuSHOUTsu's release of Kamen Rider Kuuga. When it dropped last month, I know it's taken me a little bit to get to this, it kind of caused a small bit of controversy. I don't think it was huge, but some people were mad about it, and I want to talk about it for a second. So the point of contention with TokuSHOUTsu's Kuuga release is with the villains, the Grongi. The Grongi in the show speak in their own language, which in the real world is basically just a scrambled, sort of like ciphered version of Japanese, I guess. And when the show broadcast initially back in 2000, it wasn't subtitled, so you didn't know what the Grongi were saying, and it was kind of a mystery because you didn't know what their overall plan was until later in the show. Subsequent releases of Kuuga on home video by Toei have generally included a subtitle track that translates the Grongi into Japanese, so a lot of subbers, including Midnight Crew, who were subbing Kuuga before it got picked up by TokuSHOUTsu, ended up at least having a track that translated the Grongi subtitles. That way, if it was either your second watch through and you already knew it was going to happen, or you just wanted to know all of the dialogue, you could do that. TokuSHOUTsu's subs have the Grongi translated, and some people were complaining that that spoils the show and one of the big twists, and it kind of does, but at the same time, I really don't feel like it's that big of a deal. One, Kuuga's plotline is not its focus, and it's kind of boring. Where Kuuga is good is in its characters and how everybody reacts to Godai and the relationships that are developed between him and everybody else. It's why the second to last episode of the show is everybody just talking about Godai, pretty much. The overall plot isn't super huge or even really, like I said, all that good. So technically, yes, translating the Grongi does spoil a thing in the show, but honestly, I really don't feel like you're getting into Kuuga for that. Kuuga is a hard watch sometimes just because of how minimal its plot is, but I feel like its strength lies on its characters, and it does those really, really well. So even if literally right off the bat it had spoiled that thing about the Grongi, then I still really wouldn't have cared all that much, because the important part is Godai and him interacting with everybody in the show, and him just generally being an idiot. So the fact that the Grongi is translated, and you get that little reveal, or not little reveal, I guess it is a big reveal, but the fact that you get that reveal before the show really intends, I think really isn't much of a sticking point. Plus, the other way I see it is that this was probably not a decision that TokuSHOUTsu made. Like, whatever team was working on subbing the show and getting it on the streaming service for American audiences, they weren't the ones making the decision to translate the Grongi. I guarantee you that was Toei saying, translate the Grongi. Because, like I said earlier, on basically every subsequent release of Kuuga, and I can't confirm this because it's just based on my memory, so feel free to correct me, I think I recall hearing that when Kuuga was re-aired, they subtitled the Grongi in proper Japanese. Like I said, I'm not sure how true that is, because that's going on my memory, and I am often wrong. But the point is, with every future release of Kuuga, basically since it aired, Toei has been translating the Grongi, pretty much. So it's really a case of, if Toei wants the Grongi translated, you translate the Grongi, and that's just kind of what you have to accept. Because honestly, even if that is a complaint, I was against it when it was initially announced, but the more I thought about it, the less I really cared. But even if that is a problem, I feel like it's not a huge one, and ultimately the rest of the show is still plenty enjoyable. And TokuSHOUTsu's release of it is really good. The subtitles are very, very high quality, and the video, which is the Blu-ray RAWs, looks really, really nice. So even with that thing that can be counted as an issue, I guess, but I wouldn't really say it is, it's still a good release, and you should still use it to watch Kuuga. This isn't like a Gridman on Toku HD kind of thing, where the subs are like crab sticks level, and they're not super good. Like, there's a lot of grammar errors and shit. This is ultimately, I think, a very, very good sub of a show that maybe has one kind of big issue, but that ultimately doesn't ruin the show, because the show's main plot is not its drawing point, nor is it its strong point. So that's my 2 cents on the TokuSHOUTsu Kuuga thing. Like I said, I'm a little late to it because they dropped it in May, and as I record this, we're on the verge of them dropping Heisei Generations Forever sometime next month. We don't know when, we just know it's in July. But it took me a little while to get around to it and actually record it. But now I've said my piece, and I look forward to the super hardcore Kuuga fans telling me I'm an idiot. But that's where I stand on it. That's all for now, and I will see you guys next time.